Hey, how's it going? I've talked so much about my past before. I mean, it's basically the whole point of this channel, talking about old friends, experiences, whole eras of my life. I started a little over a year ago, trying to be more consistent with it, and it has helped me think about how I was feeling and catalog it, and really, while I'm making the videos, look into how I'm really feeling and how I would present these issues to somebody as if I was talking to a friend or a family member, whatever it may be. This channel helps me remember how I was feeling about certain topics at certain times, And as I've thought about my past and experiences for this channel to sort of maybe find greater meaning in them or just to recount them for a video, I am reminded of how bad my memory actually is. Or maybe not even how bad it is, but how bad I am at remembering specific details or what really happened. This channel helps me remember how I was feeling. I've always sort of thought I have a bad memory, or rather selective memory. I'm able to remember a ton of things, if I actually care about it, but if it's something that I don't like or something that I'm not really too interested in and I only really need it for a short amount of time, I forget it pretty quickly. And I've sort of known this my whole life. But a couple years ago, I kind of really started to do things to help mitigate that. I have created Spotify playlists for, I remember last year I made one for 2023, and every month I would add songs to it that I found and was listening to frequently during that month, so I can go back and see exactly kind of what mood I was in or what I was listening to during that month. I take a lot of photos, even keep screenshots. I think my phone has like 4,000 photos on it over multiple phones. This computer, I have multiple hard drives from so many years ago with so many, I have old videos from old channels, from old group projects, from so many different things. I really like to keep this stuff. That sort of transfers into real life to where I like to have a lot of physical media. I'm not like a collector by any means, but I've talked about before how I do like to get Xbox 360 games because it was such a big part of my childhood, and I'm kind of scared that I won't be able to go back and show my kids those games. But basically, yeah, I've just done a lot of things to help myself remember the past because I just haven't been able to. Friends would bring up things I did and that I'd have no idea what they're talking about. I won't even remember, genuinely. And sometimes I think people are messing with me when they will bring things up as a joke and I will have no idea what they're talking about. I'd imagine it'd actually be pretty easy to manipulate me if you're someone that I trust. You could just completely make something up and I'd almost have to believe you, unless it is so out of character that I could, obviously say that that wasn't me. But I found myself being really confused because people would reminisce about certain things I did that was rude or annoying and I just wouldn't have any idea about it. It made me feel crazy. It's kind of funny. I remember listening to a Pierce the Veil song where he talks about how he will eventually forget the color of the person's eyes. And it's weird because I've listened to that album, Collide with the Sky, and that song, I don't even remember the full song. It's like I'm almost out of gas or something. It's something stupid long name. But I've listened to that song and that album so many times, but I guess in this specific moment when I heard this song, I don't know, I guess it just kind of clicked for me. And those lyrics really impacted me, as cringy as that may sound. Because it made me think about old friends that I sort of let control my thoughts, even though I haven't talked to them for years. But I can't even remember the color of their eyes. I can't remember what their voice sounded like. I can't remember specific facial features. If I saw them in a crowd of people, I don't even know if I would recognize them. In my video about loneliness, I talked about how old friends became caricatures and old memories became romanticized because I'd played them up so much in my head that I couldn't even remember them, let alone the little details. Or in some cases, even large details. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what certain people looked like. Even people that played such a huge part in my life not that long ago. I forget what they sound like. I forget the things we did together. And it makes me really sad. I remember a couple years ago, sort of relating to what I talked about earlier, I reconnected with some of my old Xbox 360 friends, people I was friends with, from the ages of like 10 to 13, maybe even like 9 years old. And I remember they kind of ganged up on me, not in like a super hurtful or like bullying way, but they just kept bringing up rude or embarrassing things that I had did, and I had completely forgotten it. I, at the time, didn't believe them. And then I remembered, there was this one friend I had who I was a huge dick to. And I, for such a long time, didn't really remember why he completely cut me out. And when I went back and looked at my DMs with him, I was such a dick. And I didn't even remember that I did that. And it made me super self-conscious and almost gave me a complex that I carry to this day, where I worry about accidentally being rude or annoying. And I wonder, why can't I remember those things? Do I just have a bad memory? Or am I subconsciously shoving them away and trying to forget them? I wonder if those two things are connected. Going to therapy, it was weird because I would try to recount, how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling this way, or, what, a lot of time they'll try and get you to talk about your childhood. And I really struggle. It's very rare that I have an aha moment where I, remember something, in some cases even large, maybe abuse that I endured even, it's crazy stuff that you'd think I would remember. Makes me so scared to talk to people that I haven't talked to in a long time, because what do they think of me? What am I just forgetting that they remember or associate me with? I know in a lot of cases it's not healthy to obsess over stuff like that, but it sometimes is hard not to think about stuff like that. It's just weird that this whole channel is essentially focused on talking about my experiences in life, but I can't remember the fine details. I have a really hard time actually remembering things exactly how they were. And it's something I'm really self-conscious about, and I really try hard to mitigate. In the moment now, I try and really think about things, and I try and take in experiences. As cringy as it sounds, the whole put down the phone thing and actually take in life as it is something I do try and do. Actually analyzing how I'm feeling in the moment is something I really struggled with for a long time. And I think I've gotten a lot better at it, and it makes it easier to recount how I was feeling when I actually think about it a lot more deeply. But yeah, that's just something that I was thinking about randomly. And that song I mentioned earlier is a really good song, and I don't know, I just was listening to it, but for some reason that one verse just caught my ear, and it made me think of this whole issue that I've struggled with for my whole life. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I got Twitter and stuff in the description, and yeah, see you guys.